Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you how to close the wealth gap in your own life with the man who's done it for many, our wealth coach himself, Tyrone French. Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Closing the Wealth Gap. I'm your host, Tyrone French. You know, what I'd like for you guys to do, we're going to make sure that our content is exactly the way you want it, but you got to give us some feedback. So you can literally, at the end of every show, just go ahead and email coach@tyronefrench.com. That's coach@tyronefrench.com. Also, go to closingthewealthgap.net, hit that follow button. What it does is it does us a favor, expands our audience, and again, it gives us positive feedback as to we're on the right track. Also, what I want you to do is download my free digital app. You will have my business, my platform in the palm of your hand, calculators, articles, videos, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just go to tyronefrench.coach. That's TYRONEFRENCH.coach. And with that being said, what I'd like to do today, we have a treat for you, a special treat. We have a author. And full disclosure, I grew up with this young lady. I saw her. She used to play in her front yard, running around with the water hose with her brothers and sisters. Just a joy to see her grow up and blossom to the woman that she is. She's the author of an acclaimed book called "To Reclaim Your Power: The Journey Back to Self." Her name is Crystal D. Woods. You probably haven't heard of that name, but I guarantee you, pretty soon it's going to be a household name. So without further ado, Crystal, how are you?
Good afternoon, Tyrone. Yes, you just took me back. Oh my God, to childhood. I'm doing fantastic.
Well, you know, people call me Coach, and that moniker comes from your dad, who was Coach Woods. He was a community leader, and everybody looked up to your dad. I mean, he was just a great guy. He was a surrogate father for people in the neighborhood. In Athens Park, I mean, I'm sure he kept a lot of people out of the state penitentiary by the work that he did with the football league. I mean, he was just an incredible man. Your whole family is just incredible.
But thank you for that. That's very kind of you to say, and you're absolutely right. My dad had a major impact on community and people, and he always wanted to give, and that's a part of me.
Yes.
So I learned that from him. I watched him, how he impacted the lives of the youth at that time. I watched how he, related to some of the gangbangers in the community and helped them change their lives around.
Yes.
So he always had that impact, and he definitely instilled that in us.
Yeah, I'll tell anybody.
Always giving back.
Yes, I'll tell anybody. I grew up in South Central LA, and, it was easy to go left or to go right. I just celebrated my 61st birthday on January the 19th. And it was, for me, I kind of looked at, because I'm not really a birthday guy, but I looked at back in the neighborhood, and a lot of guys didn't make it to 16, so to be 61. And again, like I said, to have pillars in the neighborhood like your dad, that could literally just, back in the day, he would just look at you. He would give you that look, and you knew you were messing up, and you got back on track. So I'm just saying
that everyone got that look, not just the family. Everyone got the look.
So the fruit didn't fall far from the tree. So again, I want to talk about your book, and I want to put emphasis on what you're doing right now. Reclaim Your Power: The Journey Back to Self. Crystal, I read your book, and when I started reading it, I couldn't put it down. Because it's such, you go over topics that a lot of psychologists and a lot of psychologists have a hard time defining these terms, and you broke them down to whereas anybody can understand the philosophy and the mindset of being successful and taking control of your own mind. So just tell me, what was the motivation for this book?
The motivation behind Reclaim Your Power speaks to my own personal testimony, my own personal transformation, and also what I saw during 2020.
Okay.
So, again, what was going on at that time, we were all stuck at home, During that time, a lot of people slipped into depression.
Yes.
And they became disconnected from who they knew themselves to be.
Yes, yes.
And having gone through that and listened to people who experienced that and who are still talking about that, who are still feeling the effects of that coupled with my own personal transformation, the time that we're in right now, there's a shift. There's a conscious shift that's happening, and more people are really wanting to get back to the essence of who they are.
Yes.
So the title of this book, Reclaim Your Power, The Journey Back to Self, speaks to that. It's time for us to go within, reconnect, so we can open up that heart center and really begin to function as human beings and be kind to one another again.
So quick question, though.
We have to have that relationship with self.
Absolutely. So did you know that this book was inside of you?
I did not. I'll tell you an interesting story.
Okay.
It was not my intent to write this book, but it was channeled through me because my intention was to write a book that I can gift to college students, to high school students, to help them chart their path in their career. As I started writing, something happened within me to where this came out.
Okay.
I couldn't fight this.
Well,
And that's, again, going back and reconnecting to ourselves, listening to ourselves, and being in alignment with what our real purpose is.
well, one of the aspects of the book that really got me, there was a lot of times when I open up a book, and sometimes I'll see certain numbers, certain patterns. I'm an avionics guy, electronics guy, so I'll see certain patterns. And so every time I see like the number 1, like 111 or 111, it gets my attention. So when I went to your book and I turned to page 111, you were talking about the word. And it just, I don't know if it was a coincidence. I don't know if, it was designed, but the power of words. And I don't think people really understand how they direct their lives just based on the words that they choose, or even the dialogue or the narrative that they have going on in their head 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Can you explain that chapter a little bit?
Tyrone, I have to say this, and this is very powerful that you mentioned that. I did not even realize that 111 was the page for the power of words. And as I was preparing today, bookmarked Power of Words, because that's something I wanted to speak on, and here you are mentioning that.
But it's a frequency. You wrote in the book about the vibration. See, success leaves clues. And so it's a flow, it's a pattern. So this is not a mistake. This is not an accident that we're having this conversation, that you wrote this book, and that is so timely that I even took the book and I put it on my digital app so my clients can have access to how to buy this book. As a matter of fact, I read your book, and I went back to Amazon and I bought another book so my daughter could read it. And I'm going to hold it over her head. I'm going to say, hey, look, after you read this book, we're going to go out to lunch and we're going to talk about it. And she's going to pick the restaurant. She doesn't have poor taste, but so not only am I going to deal with the price of the book, but I'm going to have to deal with the price of the meal. But to me, it's worth it because it's life changing.
I really appreciate, and that's the goal. This book, it's like a guide. It's a guide to help the reader during their transformation reconnect with self for empowerment, forgiveness, and renewal. And you asked about the power of words. We have to be very intentional about the words that we speak because there are vibrations in everything.
Yes.
Especially our words. We can say things and we can blow it off as comedy or try to dismiss it, but what we don't realize is that we've already set something in motion if it's not nullified. Exactly. Yes. So we have to be very careful with the things that we say and be very intentional. So when I was writing this chapter here, I'm a big advocate of affirmations. So I use them daily. I write them. I create them. And matter of fact, in the book, there is a subchapter dedicated to affirmation.
Yes.
And just as we speak positively, we can create and manifest things. We speak negatively, those things are still being manifested, and so many people wonder what's happening in their lives. You got to think about what you're saying,
Absolutely.
What you're speaking over yourself.
Absolutely. We get so caught up on the results, and people try to change the results instead of focusing on the cause. What's causing this? Why does this keep occurring in my life over and over and over again? And let me fix the results instead of focusing on the cause. And like you said, the affirmations and the self-talk. Well, a lot of people don't realize that an affirmation could be something as simple as looking in the mirror saying, you look stupid today. I don't like the way I look. I don't like, whatever it is, where people can, they decide, whatever it is. But it's an affirmation. And what makes it so powerful is that you believe it.
You believe it, and you're affirming the thing that you're saying.
Over and over. So then when it manifests, which is I believe that we're all prophets. We're all self-fulfilling prophets. Right. Fulfilling self-fulfilling prophecies that we're speaking every single day. We're just not aware of it.
Exactly.
So also
that's where the dangers come in.
Yes. So I'm going to stay on affirmation just a little bit because I'm not going to do a spoiler for the book, but there's quite a few affirmations. But you talked about the I am. Let's talk. Why is I am so powerful?
Just dealing with self. First principle of nature is, you have to preserve self, right?
Yes.
First law of nature, self-preservation.
Yes.
So everything comes back to who we are. And when we say I am, there is no doubt, there's no question, that's a knowing. That's a matter-of-fact statement.
Yes. Whatever
follows, that's what we're affirming.
Yes, I agree. For me, though, the I am, it brings me back to the present. I am doing this. I am doing that. I am powerful. I am successful. I am. And here's the thing. When we were growing up, well, for me, I'm just going to put it back on me personally. When I was growing up, I thought it was negative. I thought it was selfish to say I. I thought it was selfish to say me and my. Right. Because that's what I was taught. You focus on other people. You should say our, and you should say we. But no, the first thing you got to get together is yourself. Before you can love anybody else, you have to love yourself first. You have to love self first. So if we don't know that, and if we remain disconnected from the I, and you're just a reflection of me, you're never going to see the greatness in you. Exactly. Because I don't see it in myself, just a reflection. But if we don't reconnect with the I, it can't be a we. Absolutely. Also, I was looking at, as far as going back to the I, and listening to the mind. Listen to the mind and the chatter of the mind. Well, yes. A lot of people think that the chatter of the mind is them. They think it's themselves. But actually, who's observing the chatter of the mind? Who's observing the what the mind is actually visualizing? It's the I, it's the us, it's the we, it's the essence. And so once you, the way you got this broken down in the book, it makes it simple. We're not talking about the id. We're not going into as far as really talking about the ego. We're bringing it home and making it real to people as far as, I am the one that's participating in this observation. And when I understand the observation, now I can manipulate the conversation that I'm having. I can literally stop negative conversations midstream and say, wait a minute, I choose not to think about this anymore. Exactly. I choose not to deal with this situation anymore. But in your book, you preface that by saying none of that happens without intent. None of it happens without purpose. None of it happens without the why. So explain to me why the why. Why is it so important to understand why? To be intentional. It's important to be intentional. There's several things happen as we grow up and we live these experiences. People project things onto us. People project their ideologies to us, their belief systems, all the things.
So if we disconnected from the I, we not sure as to who we are, we're going to be repeating a pattern.
Yes.
So we are not intentional about our desires, if we're not intentional about what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, we're just repeating a pattern, what was projected onto us. And what we're creating, going back to that vibration, what we are creating then could be out of alignment with our purpose.
With
So
our
many
purpose.
people go through life without our purpose. So many people go through life without knowing what their purpose is. And a part of finding that is you have to take responsibility. It goes back to self. Taking responsibility, understanding, okay, if this is the life I desire to live, there's two things that has to happen. One, I have to shed all that has been projected onto me.
Mm-hmm.
So I can heal, so I can be all that I can be in order to help the next person.
Yes.
So our purpose it serves two purposes for us, but it's also for who we encounter.
Absolutely.
And to not be intentional about that goes back to what are you creating?
So I can hear my listeners.
Understand the why.
I can hear my listeners saying right now, you know, okay, I get it. I need to understand why I'm doing certain things. Meaning that what's my motivation? What is driving me? And be intentional. But how do you get there?
Why,
exactly. That's my question.
They don't know what they want
or who they are.
Or who they are.
So how do you get to that point? How do you make that? Yeah. So how do you make that connection?
How do you make the connection of knowing your why, knowing who you are? You have to start with first thing. You have to know where you are in your life.
That's
you have
good.
to take a look with where you are and start right where you are.
Let me tell you why that's so good.
Finances.
Let me tell you why that's so good. What you said. I mean, again, I know I just broke your thought as far as the tangent that you were on. But let me tell you why that's so important to me and how that resonated with me. When you, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. When you walk into the mall, and you open up that door, and that wind hits your face, you walk a few more paces in the mall, and all of a sudden you see this giant directory. And the first thing it tells you is that you are here. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that, because if you didn't understand where you were at the time, you're lost. And you can travel around that mall for hours and hours trying to find the store that you're looking for, because you didn't check out, you didn't understand the purpose of the directory. You probably just walked past it. So based on human terms, without understanding your purpose, you're living this life and you could be wasting 5, 10, 15, 20 years just going around in circles because you haven't figured out who you are and where you want to go and what you want to accomplish.
That's right. You know, when I coach my clients, I ask them, you know, what it is that you want.
Yes.
Can never answer the question.
Yes. What is it that you want?
Whether it's out of fear of being honest with themselves or just don't know. You have to start with where you are. And there's nothing wrong taking a look at where you are. You have to first evaluate 7 structures of your life, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your job. If any of that is out of alignment and you don't know the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing, you're still going to feel confused. You're still going to be wandering aimlessly in this lifetime, right?
That's true.
So to evaluate those areas, then you can begin to eliminate the things that no longer serve you. A lot of times we carry on things just from childhood, just because we've been doing it all along. Because we're going to continue to do it.
Right, because we don't know that we've been programmed from birth. We've been programmed from birth, and we think that this is who we are. We think that this is what we're supposed to do when we're actually living somebody else's life. And
someone else's life.
And again, just going back to your book, you were saying that if you're not on the right track, you mentioned the law of attraction in your life, as far as in your book, And if you're not on the right track, the law of attraction, you're going to be attracting all these things into your life, whether you realize it or not. So
Right.
a lot of the law of attraction is somewhat controversial for a lot of people. I don't understand why it would be controversial. Just like gravity. Gravity is not controversial to me. If you don't believe in gravity, just go stand on top of your house and jump
Right.
head first. And then you'll have a relationship with gravity. But again, with the law of attraction, again, it's something that a lot of people just can't seem to grasp. But you got it in this book. And so what does the law of attraction mean to you?
The law of attraction, and I'll put it this way, just like the old adage, birds of a feather flock together, or you attract the things that you desire. I mean, law of attraction, you're attracting the thing that you're focused on. Your thought goes, energy follows.
Yes.
The thing that you're focused on and the thing you surround yourself with, that's the energy that you're bringing to yourself. Whether it's positive, negative.
Yes.
That's what you're bringing to yourself, because that's what you're surrounded with. That's what your environment reflects. That's where your thoughts are. That's where your association is.
Yes. I think part of the disconnect, too, is people, they don't understand that the thing that they're searching for is literally searching for them, too.
Searching for them.
And it's just a matter of time before they connect. And again, a lot of times, if you're doing this with intent, you're doing it, you understand the why, you have a reason for doing it, then once you have that connection, then all of a sudden you begin to understand more that, wow, I literally am prophesying in my life. I am literally driving these things, calling things that are not as though they were into my life, and now they are manifesting. And so now, instead of walking around here with doubt because you don't know what you're doing, where you're going, now you're walking around with confidence. Instead of walking around with fear, again, and you talked about, overcoming fear in your book. Instead of walking around, fearless, now you're walking with fear in your life. Now you're walking around with confidence or with courage.
Yes. And, we all were given choice. And if we're the architects of our life,
Yes.
that means we have the power to create the life that we want.
Yes.
We can create any aspect of our life.
Yes.
And it's about being intentional and knowing what you want. And then you will really begin to attract the things that you desire, because what will happen is those things will start speaking up. And then
Yes.
you'll be placed in position to connecting to other people who will help get you or help you along the road, help you get the job, or help you with your finances, because that's the intent that you set forth. That's what you're creating.
I like how you said that, because it really is like choice, but it really is a decision. You make a decision, a conscious decision.
Everything starts with a decision.
That's,
You have to choose to do different.
yes. Yes, because if you keep doing the same old thing over and over and over again, thinking that you're going to have a different result, that is the definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell you,
with choice comes responsibility, comes ownership.
Absolutely.
That's what a lot of people avoid. They don't want the responsibility of those decisions, the consequences that follow.
You know what? I'm going to share this.
Fear.
I'm going to share this. Napoleon Hill wrote this book called Think and Grow Rich. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because in his monologue in the beginning of the book, he said there's a secret in the book. And he said, I'm not going to share this secret with you. He said, but I'm going to tell you, there's a secret in this book. He said you can find it in the first chapter, or you can find it on the last page of the book. And he said, once you find this secret, he said, I want you to take a glass and turn it over and basically give a toast to yourself, because now you have knowledge that almost like 95% of the population don't have. And so the secret in his book was about the mastermind, being able to, because you have a mind. Everybody has a mind. The issue is they don't know how to control their mind. So they're never going to be able to steer it in the direction where they want it to go to begin to achieve. Now, this show is Closing the Wealth Gap, so we focus on, finances and wealth, wealth accumulation, generational wealth. But without being able to control your mind, none of that stuff is going to manifest.
No.
But Krista, what I'm going to tell you is that, like I said, I read your book. I absorbed your book. I'm a student of life, and I can't tell you how many books I have read. But going forward, I will read this book over and over and over again because it's just that good. And I would recommend it to anybody. As a matter of fact, if you check my app, your book is already listed on my app as one of the books to purchase. But I'm going to tell you something.
Wow.
Just like a Picasso, you go to a museum and you can see a masterpiece on the wall. And based on people's perceptions, they're going to see something in that painting that other people don't see. Even Picasso, even Michelangelo, when he painted the Sistine Chapel, there were things that people saw that he didn't see. He was just, being who he was. These creators are really just creating because it's a part of them. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a secret in your book. It flows through every single chapter. Every single chapter of your book, from the first chapter to the ending chapter, you have a theme going through it. And you mention the same thing over and over and over in your book.
I do.
And I'm going to give people just a hint. But you talk about, I'm just going to give them just a slight hint. But
It's okay.
But you talk about making sure, because everything in society is growing. And you have to have a growth mindset in order to achieve anything, especially in business, especially in finance, but we can tie that to relationships. We can tie it to your career. Without that growth mindset, you might as well just throw in the towel because you're not going to grow. And if you're not growing, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
Have to get rid of the defeated mindset.
So tell me,
Get rid of it.
what is your philosophy just based on growth, individual growth? Why is that so important?
Growth is so important because, again, if you're not growing, dying.
Yes.
Don't want to remain stagnant. We know what stagnation does.
Yes.
And to remain stagnant, you are pretty much giving up on all the possibilities that you've dreamed of.
Yes.
So when change happens, there are so many people who resist change, fear, whether that because they can't control the outcome, whether because there's no guarantees, but whatever the reason is, resistance of change, you're hindering yourself from receiving the things that you desire for your life.
Exactly. So, Krista, I tell you what. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You have to embrace change to truly grow and live the abundant life that you desire. Have the relationship that you desire. Have the wealth that you desire.
Yes.
Before you can embark on anything new, there's going to be a bit of change in your life. So you can't resist it. Change is very important. And growing, having that mindset shift, growth mindset, being grateful for everything, starting your day with gratitude,
yes,
brings all of that to you.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, Crystal, we got a couple minutes left. What I want people to understand is, how do they get in touch with you? If they want to purchase your book, or if they want to contact you directly, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, I actually have a free gift for your listening audience.
Oh, wow.
You all want to go to Gift from Crystal, that's GIFTFROMCRYSTAL.com. There's a free excerpt from the book you can download immediately. I think you'll enjoy it. So that is my gift to your audience. And if you wanted to get in touch with me directly, you can follow me on Instagram. I am Crystal Dion. That's I am CRYSTALDIONNE. And, of course, the website is www.ireclaimedmypower.com.
Outstanding. So actually, what I want you to do is give that the website or the information for the free gift again, because I just want people to have that excerpt of your book, because I think once they get a sample of what they're going to get, what they're going to read in your book, I think that's going to inspire a lot of people or motivate a lot of people to actually go ahead and purchase this book, because I think that in just my opinion, it should be in every household in America. Because a lot of, like you said, a lot of people are struggling.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people are struggling. They're struggling financially. They're struggling with day-to-day decisions and not understanding that the power to overcome those obstacles and those situations is within themselves. And they're looking for external answers. And what your book...
That's right.
Yes. And so what I got out of your book is that the book is saying, no, stop looking without, start looking within.
Start looking within, and you'll gain self-awareness, self-empowerment, sense of purpose, emotional resilience, and confidence to create the life you desire.
Reclaim your power, the journey back to self. So what's the link for the gift for the book, the excerpt?
Gift, GIFT, ROM, Crystal, CRYSTAL.com. Gift from Crystal.
Outstanding. Well, folks, there you have it. Our esteemed guest today, Crystal D. Woods. She wrote this phenomenal book, in my opinion, Reclaim Your Power, The Journey Back to Self. I encourage you to go to Amazon. Go to Amazon.com and type in the browser, Reclaim Your Power. Crystal D. Woods will pop up. And purchase that book on Amazon, but also give a review. Give a powerful review about what your experience was with this book. And again, we're not looking for hype. We're not looking for sensational shit, things to be sensational or drama. Just be true to yourself. Just be honest, and just share. Share what you're getting out of a resource. To me, that I feel like is going to be in everyone's home. First of all, if you're talking about cleaning up your neighborhood, the first thing you got to do is make sure your own porch is swept clean. So I bought this book. I'm buying it for my family members. Christmas gifts, any other gift, an anniversary, a birthday. You're not getting something from me that you don't even know what it was. You don't have an inkling of what the gift was, a year down the road. But this is something that you're going to benefit from. It's going to be in your library. So, Crystal, again, thank you so much for being here today. And what I'd like to do is do a follow-up maybe in a few months and bring you back on the show.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful. And you all continue to live inspired and be empowered.
Well, there you go. Well, again, this is our episode of Closing the Wealth Closing the Wealth Gap. I'm so excited right now I can't even talk. I've been saying Closing the Wealth Gap for I don't know how many times, and I'm tongue-tied. I'm just speechless just by the information and the power that we're having from this conversation today. But what I would like for people to know, that Tyrone French is Closing the Wealth Gap.
That's our show for this week. Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, the only show that shows you how to take control of your financial future. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.